Just like that, Matt. We're live.
We're live.
It just happened. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Muni Misfits in the Morning. My name's Chris Larson. I'm the head golf professional here at Osgood Golf Course. That's where we're at today. And I've got a couple of misfits. We got a full cast of misfits today. So we'll kind of go round table and we'll introduce everybody. But first, Greg McCullough, head golf professional at Edgewood and El Zegel. On the far right there, I've got Matt Cook, head golf professional at Prairiewood and at, what is that, Rose Creek?
Correct.
All right. It's 7 o'clock. It's early. All right. And collectively, we are the Muni Misfits in the Morning. Thanks for tuning in. And if you haven't done so already, please check out the channel on YouTube. I think I got a little subscribe button right here. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify. We're kind of like,
you can't see
you can't see it. Yeah, you like that, don't you?
I do love that.
Check us out on Facebook. And if you haven't done so, look at football.net, and you can check out all the 5 major golf courses here in our area. Well, what do we got going on with? Why do we have so many people here, Matt?
You know what? We've got like really 3 misfits and 3 all-stars. All right. But no, we're here to have the Shanley golf team, or part of the Shanley golf team. You know that kind of chilly out this the day is much shorter in girls golf season than it's begun. In fact, we're probably about a third of the way through the season anyway. Anyhow, so we've got Sherry Sager as far as with Shanley head golf coach here. We've got Brock Ellingson, who's the assistant and JV coach, and then all-star Lindsey Astrup, who's a senior this year at Shanley, and kind of leads the Shanley girls golf team. And so thank you very much for getting up early this morning and visiting with us today. We want to talk a little bit of girls golf, and you guys are the first ones we've had on now for the year, so it's really kind of exciting. Sherry, we'll start to talk with you right away. I think you guys are 4 tournaments into it right now. How are things going so far as with the team?
Things are going really well. We've been very excited we've got 5 new players this year for the team. Lindsey's our only returning starter. And so we really didn't know what to expect. And we kind of, Brock and I talked a lot about, what we hope for, what we can see. And our first meet, they came in with scores better than we were expecting. So that's a good start. We've got a lot. You just never know.
Yeah.
And so we've been keeping notes of things we have to work on, but I'm very optimistic about how we should end up in the season.
How are numbers this year compared to like the last several years? You've been coaching for how long?
This is my 7th year. Yeah, fourth year varsity, but I've been with the team for 7. Our numbers are great. It's the most numbers that we've seen. We've got 26 out this year. Is awesome, but also causes some logistical problems. Like, where do we put everybody for practice?
Right.
How do we get everybody playing time? But just having that many numbers, and really a young team. We've only got 1 senior, Lindsey. I think we have 4 or 5 juniors.
We have 4.
4?
Yep.
And then everybody else, I think 1 sophomore, and then everybody else is freshmen or under. So it's a young team, but lots of good talent, lots of good swings. We just got to work on some small stuff.
We're about 4 tournaments in. Where do you guys kind of stack up so far as in the East?
I think we're a pretty solid 4.
Okay, good.
We're optimistic. I think we could shoot for a 3rd place if we wanted to. At the beginning of the season, we were hoping, let's hope we can make it to the state tournament, which is top 6, and I think we've got a pretty solid chance at that.
How's the JV team been doing, Brock?
Pretty good. We're finishing in the top 5 of most tournaments, and I got the youngest JV squad in the conference. So we have 2 9th graders, all the rest 7th and 8th graders. So there's a promising future.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, they got 2 great leaders as far as running that program. Hopefully, you can kind of keep that fun, and those girls will keep continuing on to play. But it is fun to see all of the girls making the program. I think a lot of the teams right now, the numbers are pretty good. And so it's been kind of fun to see. Where is the region this year? This year is
Jamestown.
in Jamestown.
Yeah.
You have this probably a long summer as far as tournaments. How did the summer go for you overall?
Honestly, it wasn't quite what I wanted, but I'm happy to start off the high school season better than my summer.
Yeah, right now I think EDC as far as stroke average.
Yeah.
I think right now through 4 tournaments, I think you're right around 75.8 So that's fantastic. How, as far as this start compared to past years, as far as your junior and sophomore year?
Not too much, honestly. Yeah.
How do some of the other girls do? Kind of look and see kind of what you've done as far as some kind of your work ethic a little bit. Does that kind of help as far as being?
Yeah, I try to get. I definitely think that they look at what I do and follow that. And yeah,
You've got, and here you do have another family member playing on your team.
I do. My sister is playing as the 3 or 4 right now. She's in 7th grade.
Wow, that's fantastic. Really, is there any like kind of competition as far as within the family there?
Mac brings it a little. She's like, "You just hit the green. You didn't hit the green."
Oh, that's terrific.
I gotta pressure her somehow. Come on.
Yes. No, that is good. That is really kind of cool. It's fun for your sister too, I'm sure. To beat the big sister or try to do the best she can.
Right. Yeah.
So, well, that's really good. What are some things kind of like as far as that you've kind of worked on the summer as far as to get to where you are? Is there any certain areas as far as your game you've worked on or things?
With these shorter courses that we played during high school season, I'm hitting driver and I'm about 50 yards out almost every shot fours. So I really tried to focus on those 50-yard shots, which helps me get birdies. That's where most of my birdies come from, is getting up and down from 50 yards out, 30 yards out. So that's been a big focus for me.
Did you hear that? Up and down from 50 yards out. If I had that in the bag,
it's not every time.
I wouldn't know what that's like.
Talk to me about being a student athlete, because that's one of the biggest things of girls golf. I've got a girl at home that's playing girls golf and juggling the academic side along with playing, because it's demanding, right? Going out to play an 18-hole event, you're gone from school. How do you deal with the coach's side, and how do you deal with it on the athlete side?
Yeah, they're actually great with it. So we miss a whole day. So there's going to be a test and a quiz to make up, and they set aside time for us to take that, or we'll have to come in early hours before school and take that test or quiz. So you just have to set aside a little extra time to get that type of stuff done.
Sure. And then coaching wise, you've got to man the ship, right? And you got to captain that ship. How do you stay on top of all your athletes?
One of the things we always tell them is homework comes first. School is first, golf is still second. So if they're having issues, we set up what we call mentor meetings. So we meet with the kids like once a week individually and talk to them and just ask them how are things going, how's golf going, how's school going, and if at any of that time they express that they're struggling in school or they're getting behind on stuff, we start working with them and trying to help them stay on top of things. We also have a couple of Wednesdays where we don't practice. We call them homework Wednesdays.
Oh, wow.
And that's a time where they can come into, I teach at the school, and so they come into my classroom. They sit there and do homework. It's kind of a team bonding time, but also because one of us can be there, if they need to make up a test or make up a quiz, we can monitor that so that, the teachers are willing to leave the test with us and let the kids take it. So that helps a lot with that piece of it. But the biggest thing I think is just setting up those communications with the players and just saying, hey, and they're getting really comfortable with that, I think, now. And if they're struggling with something at school, they come and talk to us right away. We're already 4 days into school now too, so it's already the homework and the golf and everything is starting to already kind of hit them. But as we get in, our season's really top heavy. In other words, we have a lot of our tournaments. We're about halfway through our tournament schedule already before school starts. And now, after school starts, we really only miss 1 day a week. There's an occasional week where we'll miss 2. So that does help too. It's hard on the coach side because you have tournament, and hardly any practice. But for the students, it works well because they don't miss as much school that way.
Sure. Okay, Lindsay, I got to ask. I'm a gearhead. What's in the bag? What are you playing? What's in the bag?
I got a 53, 48 pitching wedge, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 5 wood, 3 wood driver. Okay, now we've got no real brand loyalty. If any major manufacturer wants to be a sponsor of the Muni Misfits, we're open. But go ahead. I mean,
What kind of brands are you playing right now?
Is there NIL in high school?
I don't know. That's
There
that
is
would be a
now.
scary
Lindsey's
road
looking
for
like,
coaching.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But what do you got?
I play women's Titleist T300 irons,
Okay,
and then I play all my woods are epics.
Epic. Okay, so Callaway woods and then Titleist irons.
Yes.
All right. That's solid setup right there. And again, Titleist or Callaway, if you are listening to this and watching, we'd be happy to take on a title sponsor.
Even Play Your Best Pink could
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
get in here and maybe get into
Exactly.
Lindsey's bag a little.
So looking forward to the season. Tell us, what are you? Were there any goals that you had going into this season? Were there anything that you're marking the calendar? It's this time, it's this event, or is there? What are you working towards right now?
Honestly, just to win it all. I mean, I
Love
want to
it.
play. I want to play my best golf every day, and that's all I can control is each shot. But yeah, the ultimate goal is to win it all.
Okay,
Yeah.
so practice sessions. You said you're working a lot on 50 yards and in, 40 yards, working really on the score on the wedge side.
Mhm.
What would you say? I'm going to give you high and low. All right. What's the best part of your game?
Okay.
And what's the one that you're working on right now, outside of maybe the wedges? But
Best is probably putting.
okay.
Yeah, depends on the day, but like
with all of
if
us,
the putter's rolling, it's gonna be a good day. And worst would probably when I get those upper irons. They're not as consistent. I
Long
can
irons.
hit them well usually, pretty well most of the days, but it's a little iffy some days.
Sure.
Hitting
So
those par fives and 2.
par fives and 2, Matt.
Matt,
We
did you hear that?
play-
Par fives and 2.
I love par fives on these short courses. Like we were out in WAP and I had like 140 in. I'm like, this is sweet.
Yeah.
Got like 8, 9 iron in.
So with the driver in your hands, you feel like you can take on the par fives and you can hit it out there. Do you feel like you're hitting the ball farther than more girls right now?
Yeah, that kind of tends to be the case as a senior, especially. I play with one senior usually, but they keep up pretty well though. Yeah. Usually, if I hit it square in the face, I'll be in front, but sometimes if I don't.
Okay. So, you got anything else there, Matt?
But so the EDC, I'm sure, is probably pretty tough once again.
Yep.
So maybe, Coach, first of all, who are some of the probably front runners you think right now that are the teams to beat?
I would say Davies and Red River.
Okay.
The Davies has been winning most of our local meets. So, the Grand Forks Country Club, Red River did win by 6, right?
Yeah, they did.
So
Yep.
I think that they're going to be some good competition for each other. I think it's going to be a bigger fight for that third spot.
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6 are all within about 10 strokes of each other. So that's where we're going to fall there and take that third spot. That's kind of our team goal.
That's true. What individually? Who are you trying to chase down? Or, I guess they're chasing you down.
Yeah, we got those.
You're talking to Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky.
Right, good point. Good point. Good point.
Her-
Who's in your distant
There we go.
rearview mirror?
The top 2 Davis girls were Silberg, Lexi Bartley.
Okay.
Lexi's coming off a win. And then Cheyenne has a good freshman, and then Jaya from Red River, who's a junior.
You get a chance, I suppose, to play with those girls quite a bit. I don't know how they do the rotation as far as when you're playing different invites. Do you end up playing with some
It
of the same-
rotates quite a bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's really cool.
So take this moment, if you guys, we've got some viewers on right now. If you do want to comment, suggest anything, got questions for Lindsey, anything dealing with girls golf or anything for the Misfits, happy to reach out on YouTube, comment in the I think it's the comment section, right? And then also on Facebook. So we'd be happy to field any questions on the online feed. So so girls golf right now for Shanley, how many total girls do you have in the program? I can't remember what you said there.
26 in the program.
Okay.
17 at the J with me, and then 9 on the varsity level with Coach Matt.
Because out here at Osgood, we host the JV side, and man, it is just a hive of activity after school. So like right now, we definitely feel the school session, right? So it's kind of calm now in the mornings, and then right as soon as 3:00 hits, just we have girls coming out from everywhere. The loops, getting a lot of action. Talk to us about, from the coach's perspective, how you guys are utilizing the facility, and I guess this is kind of just a time where I get to like boast about Osgood and how cool it is for practice.
Well, from the JV side of things, we're lucky to be out here at the lovely Osgood.
There it is.
12-hole course, and there's a 3-hole loop and then the 9-hole course, and great practice facilities. And so for JV, it works out great to pair them in 4s and 5s and have them rotate. So yesterday we had a group on the 3-hole loop, a group in the short game area out back chipping, working on bump and runs and short-sided shots around the bunker out there. And then I was on the driving range on the end with some working on the range, because when we had our mentor meetings, a lot of them said they needed some range work. So
Sure.
I've been fine-tuning a few things here and there, but it works out great. So we're lucky to be out here.
Well, and it's fun to see just how the girls out here, they do get markedly better being able to have that variety, right? Because they're out there playing on the loop, and then they're practicing on the short game facility, and then everything is just so intertwined and close that from a coach's perspective, you can kind of be fairly central and have an eye on just about everything. So, but yeah, we're thankful that we've got a nice partnership with Shanley, and also Cheyenne too is out here. So it's been fun after school's out, man. It's just crazy. Do you guys have range balls?
Very few. I was jealous when I saw Greg's tweet the other day as he was picking range balls. I'm like, you got more range balls in one of those baskets than I got total right now.
Stay away. Stay away.
So, and that's one more question I have for Lindsey. Are you a player or a practicer? Like, are you one to go out and just practice and hit a ton of golf balls, or do you like playing? So I think there's two different. Right? Would you not agree? There's two types of people there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a weekday practicer and a weekend player.
Okay, so like, do you grind on the driving range, or can you do that? Do you put the headphones on and just kind of go to your happy place?
I'm not a headphone person. I like to hear what the person behind me is doing. Like, I'm not a big like headphone person. I usually like to just driving range, work on every single club, make sure it's going well. The alignment stick out, and then I like to spend a lot of time on putting.
Okay, that's probably that's a good PSA right there for people that are trying to get better, right? Have a couple reps on the driving range, but spend most of the time on the putting green.
But she has a new hat now because as our senior and our strongest player, and we have a really young team, and so she's kind of been my assistant coach with us being separate courses.
Yeah.
Yesterday I felt like a coach.
Yeah, she did. Well, we were practicing sand shots. We're practicing things they're not familiar with, and so I took kind of one group and made sure she was in the other group, and so she was giving them advice and helping them out. And as a coach, I really appreciate that. And also, I think that you learn your game and you learn your swing by watching other people too. You're like, oh wait, I see that. And then so when you start seeing that in other people, you kind of know, what you're doing wrong, or you catch things faster. Sure. You just learn more about the game and yourself by watching others. And with her in that kind of assistant role, I think that's going to help her too in the end. But it also helps us because they're getting instruction all the time.
I just realized I was a really bad host in the fact that you have to get to school.
Yeah.
I'm just enamored with all the conversation right now. So I want to first off say thank you for taking the time to come on out.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, and then coaches, thank you for coming out, taking the time and giving us your input. And anytime you guys want to come out and talk
Get
golf.
up at 6:30
Exactly.
to get here at 7.
Coffee pot's on. Okay, yeah, we'll take care of you there. So get to school. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck with the upcoming season.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okay, now, guys.
Don't we do this every time now? Now we have to kind of move ourselves around, and Matt can stay over there. All right. You can go this way.
This is gonna sound great on Spotify,
That's all right.
isn't it? Yeah. Okay, can you frame us up there? Whoa, look at that. How good is that?
Thank you, Laura.
Okay. Well, that was pretty cool, guys.
That was fun. It was Sherry, I know, does a great job as far as over at Shanley, as far as coaching that program. It was kind of fun seeing Brock come in as well. Brock is extremely passionate about coaching in general, so anything he does, he jumps fully on in. And so I could see where he'd have a great time with that. I think really bring some positive things to the program. And Lindsey, my daughter Sophie had a chance to play with her in one of the Soda Series events. And if we had more time, I would have talked to her a little bit about that. Just I couldn't remember where it was. But she's got such a great attitude. She really looks. She had fun with it. Sophie. Really enjoyed the experience playing with her, and she really keeps. I think that's really, really important too, as far as the grind that you got, and then also for her teammates to see that as well, and see that hey, you know what, you can have some fun doing this game as well, and so it was fun, and hopefully she'll continue. I mean, she is playing really well right now. Like she said, I think she probably
you got some stats there, Cookie.
Yeah, I think
pulling that stuff up.
Yeah, I got some stats here. I think she said that the summer was probably not up to her expectations or what she was hoping to, but I think she just kind of kept grinding on out. And, I mean, she's got 76, 77, 72, 78 as far as right out of the gate in the first 4 events. So,
all right.
I mean, really, really good scores. And I think, like she said, I think on a lot of the tournaments she's playing in the summer, I think she's playing a lot longer golf courses. And I'm not quite sure. I kind of have a hunch why, but I don't quite understand as far as why they don't play it a little bit longer as far as the high school level too. I mean, I think they really do. Like the Soda Series, I think they try to get it maybe 54 to 5,600, I think. And I would guess that on the high school, I wouldn't be surprised if it's anywhere from about 48 to 52.
That's an interesting one. So in speaking with one junior golfer that I worked with quite a bit from Fargo North, Taylor Martin, she moved over to Jamestown this year to play golf, Jamestown College, and she said that was the biggest change for her was changing yardages, going from high school yardage to then collegiate yardage, which is the equivalent of, I would say, going from the forward tee set to the standard tee set. That they're playing courses in that like you said, 6,000 yards, 50, high 5,000, 6,000 yards. And that's a huge change because these girls, especially the girls that are going and play collegiate level, they're able to hit the driver out there where it kind of turns into a pitch and putt, right?
Right.
And then now they're having to use mid irons to hit some greens and some fairway woods and stuff. So it is an eye opener, I think, when they go to that next level.
And I think that's where, like Lindsey said, as far as being her strength, I think, you need to be able to hit that out there away.
Yeah.
I remember, and I've heard that forever, but I remember even like when Sophie was younger, we would go out there and usually both my wife and I would walk along and both my girls would probably be playing and maybe even Cole or something, like one of my sons. And I would always tell Sophie when she was really quite young, I'd say 2 things. Is when she'd get over the ball, I'd always say, okay, hit it hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say, run. And my wife would always go, why do you always say hit it hard? And I said, well, I think eventually we can figure out the direction of the dispersion. I said, but you got to be able to train them as far as to be able to generate speed. And even now, like I say, that's one thing we continue to as far as work on because, those girls that can kind of get it out there at least 230, 235, and some of the girls are hitting even a little bit further than that. Which is getting pretty big. So I imagine an LPGA, averages probably isn't much more than 245 to 250, probably, on the average. And so, and those girls that can hit it further, it truly can be even like at 50, 54, it can make it a lot easier. You can really take advantage of like the par 5s, having a little bit more length as far as even the irons, a lot of the par 3s can be that 125 to 160 range, so it's a little bit easier versus some of the other girls might be hitting maybe even hybrid or something in. So It's a game changer as far as to have that distance, just like it is as far as in the men's game, right? So, but yeah,
this would be a great time to plug Scotty McDonald and Rip Golf. So if golf is listening right now, we'd love another title sponsor in there. Training, in the off, you've done a little bit of the speed training, and we talk about how I seriously think that the girls' golf game, that is the one demographic that could benefit from speed training and hitting the ball farther. I think more so than anything. I mean, anyone anyone can benefit from hitting the ball farther, but the way course setups are for these girls, and especially in the high school game, if they can, like we said, turn this into a pitch and putt, if they can start hitting the golf ball 250, 260, if they can get it out there from those forward tee sets that they're playing in high school, my gosh, they can really start scoring. Um, that is a game changer when you can put a sand wedge in your hands versus the kid that's playing with you is hitting a 6-iron. And that's truly the difference, I think.
That, and the other thing is, like, let's say these girls are coming into the fall season. Maybe some of them may have not played a whole lot. And so it's hard, especially, and if you have some newer players, it's difficult in the short season to be able to really get those mechanics working. But that's where, like, just as we talked about the driving and the distance being so important, the short game. I remember, like, I had coached at West Fargo for, I think, 2 or 3 years as far as the girls. And we had a very young team too, a lot of new players. And I mean, our I want to say that our team score was near 500. So we had a lot of girls who were shooting 120, 130, 100, up there. And so it's kind of like, what, you're only going to be able to do so much with ball striking. But where I saw a lot of those shots being wasted, and that's where I've seen a lot, both boys and girls, but I see a lot in girls, is as far as, we've talked maybe about this before, like the 2 chips, 3 putt type of situation once again, where we're in close proximity, within probably 20, 25 yards of the green, and they're taking 5 shots, maybe even more possibly in there, And so those are areas, like I said, that I think if you're looking at trying to improve the quickest, it seems like that's like the low-hanging fruit, where you start to work a little bit on your speed control as far as putting, learning a little bit more as far as, this ability to stop the ball, like Chris Croach had talked about.
Yeah.
And then also as far as just getting a little bit better as far as your chipping mechanics, where at least you can get that closer to the hole. And then hopefully, if not make at least 2 putt, you can really shave a lot of strokes off fast. So,
well, this was fun.
Yeah.
With bringing in, I think we need to continue. Hopefully, maybe we got some viewers here. If you guys like the content, if you like talking with the athletes in season, we'd love to keep bringing the guests on. And if you have any comments, please let us know. We'd be happy to field those. So one thing we haven't done today, we could talk about competitive golf all day, and we do. But we need to talk about what's happening at facilities. We haven't done the round table. We haven't talked about what's happening. So do you guys have any highlights? Anything going on over at Creek or Edgewood? Do you guys?
Tomorrow we actually have our men's club 4-ball, our best ball tournament. So excited to have that. We've got some good teams, and that's always kind of a fun competition. And then Sunday's just open play. And then we do have an event on Wednesday, which we have Southtown Poorhouse in, and they always have a big group, and they're always kind of a lot of fun. And so other than that, it's still staying really, really busy. It feels a little different as the daylight is getting much shorter.
It is.
We moved to 7:30 next week as far as opening times. And boy, I think by the end of next week, our last tee time is probably going to be about 6:20, somewhere in that area, maybe at the most, as it's getting dark by 8:30.
It is.
So I was sitting in the office last night plugging in scores from our men's club, and someone had come on in and said, "Yeah, just made an eagle in the dark." And I'm like, "In the dark?" And I'm like, "It's got to be like 7:30." Well, it was a little bit later than that. And I'm looking, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's already pitch black."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's happening quick, and it's funny. It's always a surprise. We talk about this all the time when the weather changes and the daylight changes, because we're just kind of zooming along with the golf season. All of a sudden, you're like, "Whoa, yeah, it's getting darker." So for us, we've got open play this weekend, but then on Monday we got the major. All the guys on the moors right now know it. It's the Fargo Park District employee outing, so that's the big one. Those guys are priming the pump for Monday. It's a time when I think everyone in the park can kind of enjoy the fruits of their labor, and they can kind of just have a good time out at Osgood and a great season. So it's a nice time to celebrate that. So we're excited to have a fun Monday out here with the boys and girls of the FP. So
I think Greg and I got suspended from that.
I was
tournament.
asking you guys if you guys wanted a misfit. Would you want to?
No.
I have you on camera right now, and you say no still.
I think Greg and I and our wives might have played
We did.
together one of the first years.
We did.
And after that, I think we got ridiculed. And so
Well,
bad. So yeah, we're just kind of sitting on the sidelines now.
should we have a live remote from the Fargo Park District out?
No.
We can sit on the first tee and
That's right. We
Just
can just
rip
be
golf
we
swings.
can be the talking heads at the we can do swing roasts from the first tee. So, but yeah, outside of that, then we have to get a little talking about the daylight part. The rest of the week, we do have leagues still going. We're going to carry leagues going through September, and we're getting a little creative. I'm my first year, so I'm trying to figure out how the heck am I gonna do leagues here going through September. And what we're gonna do is maintain our standard operating procedure next week, but then following, we're gonna finish the last 3 with shotguns. So we're gonna move everyone to a 5 o'clock. Hopefully they can make it, but that's our best solution to keep golf going, keep ladies league, men's league, and all that ripping all the way through September. So that's our plan anyway. Yeah.
what's you, Matt? What do you got going?
At Edgewood, we have the EDC girls tournament next Wednesday, and actually that's all we have for a little bit here. So we have a little open play, and it's kind of nice to take a little deep breath. Obviously, we still have men's league Tuesday, ladies leagues on Thursday, keep going forward as well. So a little less corporate activity and things, and more open play. And we've had such a really nice stretch of weather. We've talked about this can be a really nice time to play. The wind's hasn't blown so much, and it's a little cooler. So yeah.
Well, just now fall golf. Everyone said it, right? That's the best golf.
Yeah.
Right. Golf courses are prime. The colors are changing. You're not battling those early season conditions. And this morning I was taking some photos out by the loop, and it is just a cool morning, right? You got that low-lying fog. It looked like Ireland out there. It was so neat. So that just the change of season, it is kind of sad, right, to see it happen. But it's also just it's when I get to play golf too, because like you said, we get done with a lot of the corporate activity, and we do find a little bit of time to kind of carve out some golf. So I don't know. I'm excited to pick up the sticks and play a little bit. So,
The other thing think of fall, you think of Tour Championship.
Yeah.
I think we got to throw a shout out to Tom Hoagie. He starts out with the way they handicap players. I think at 1 under, because he was 21st or 22nd going into the tournament, probably 23rd. Okay, and fires 4 under yesterday. So he's 5 under. Move it up to tie for 14.
Yep.
It's going to be tough for anybody, I think, to chase down Scheffler right now, as he played quite well yesterday too. And I think he's 15 under right now with a 10-shot handicap. And so, but hopefully he can kind of keep just playing well and moving his way on up. A couple more shots here, and we're talking top 5 or 6.
So that being said, do you guys like how they do the handicapping thing? I understand why they do it, but do you like it?
I don't mind it.
Okay.
It's a no. How do you do it, right? How do you do you benefit the guys who have played well all year, maybe have a bad last week and then lose it, or do you benefit the guy who happens to play good this week and he ends up winning it? I don't know what the answer is there. I don't mind it.
I see, and I like maybe having. I've got a solution. I don't have a solution, but I got an idea anyway. I like going to keep tightening up the fields like they've done.
Yep.
Like now we're at 30, right? I like the idea of maybe weighting these golf tournaments a little bit different. I don't like starting out where someone's already got a gigantic lead.
We only had 2 shots.
What's that?
You only had 2 shots. You had 2 shots.
No, I know, in front of someone else, but then they have a lead. They have, because we're handicapping it, right? Because you're starting out like -10. Isn't that what you're starting out at?
Yeah.
That's just kind of weird to me. I would rather maybe even have like one more event. I know these guys don't want to play more golf, but if you had one more event and then tighten it up even more, maybe it's the last four, right? And then you're watching like one solid group at the very, like you're watching the entire round, four guys, and or six guys, whatever it is, duke it out, because that to me, when you're starting with a field of 30, and then one guy's got, because the guy at the bottom's got no shots, right? He starts out nothing,
Probably can't win.
Can't, and that's the thing. Like, okay, great,
but should he be able to though? He's 30th.
He should, but he's got no way to win. That's what I don't like.
Well, this is rewarding play for the entire season.
I know.
So you got to have some advantage. There might be a better solution. I'm not quite sure, and I don't have a solution.
It's just heavily weighted.
I just like how it's easier as far as a viewer
to know
the
who
old
wins.
system.
Yeah.
Well, if Greg McCullough gets beat by Chris, and if Matt Cook gets to third place, and I'm trying to think, oh my gosh, this is so doggone confusing to try to find out who it is. And 3 days later, you kind of find out that, Greg McCullough ended up winning.
Yeah.
And so that was really kind of tough. I heard one other person throw out something the other day. It talked about even throwing in like a match play type deal. And maybe there's multiple buys. So like if you're like the number one seed, maybe you end up having like 2 or 3 buys.
See, that could be kind of cool though, too.
Yeah, I don't know how that could take a while too.
Yeah.
So don't disagree with any of that, but it does come down to TV. And TV, not trying to pick on players, but they don't want the 30th player playing the 29th player on Sunday of the Tour Championship.
Right.
They just don't want it. They need and want viewership and some excitement, and not that there's a lot of excitement, but you get to see the best players play all the days.
Tell you what, it was awesome being able to watch Rory tee it up with Cam Smith on a feature and watch their entire round. We had that in the shop, and I'm like, this is. I remember when you tune into some featured groups, and it was like you're watching Rory Sabatini playing. Right. They didn't have the cameras on the main feed, and now you got. Sorry, Rory. Rory Sabatini.
This will be Cam's last week. You see him, so you might as well.
Do you think so? Do you think so?
Was there any? I was going to say, was there any punches thrown? You got a guy that's going live. You got a guy that's highly outspoken against live.
Well,
was he walking on his line?
That was a week before. There's one player in the world who he didn't.
Correct.
But that they were playing, right? Those two guys. But yeah, I don't know. I'm back and forth on that whole live deal. I think I don't know.
Well, so this was an interesting week, and Greg just talked about it's all about TV, and so they made some big steps this week.
Mm-hmm.
Some probably think that, you just copied the playbook of Greg Norman maybe to a certain
but
degree.
Greg Norman copied the playbook of somebody else. Let's not give Greg the credit here because he totally copied it somebody else. Anyway, continue.
Yep, exactly. But I think, it's I think they've got, 20 players or 20-some player. Maybe there's a lot more than that. I don't remember. Together as far as they had a meeting, and Jay Monahan, the commissioner, was there as well. And they talked about some of these things. It's like, what can we do to make this, a better experience for, not just the players. We also need to make it as far as for our fans and even for the sponsors.
Yeah.
And, I think the one thing that probably both the players and everybody probably want is how do we get even more of these players playing at the same time or in some of the same tournaments once again. So they really made some pretty significant additional changes to what they already did this year. Once again, obviously purses are going to rise in quite a few more events once again. I like as far as, I think they've got, 20 guys? What do they call it again? I don't remember as far as their kind of little circle. It's kind of like the guys that are the game changers, the needle movers, There's some perks there for those gentlemen. I like as far as one way they're trying to maybe attract some of these AMs coming on out is the guaranteed money, $500,000 upfront payment. You'll be guaranteed, as far as if you're an exempt player. And then for even non-exempts, I think they're for them cut. They're still paying probably up to $5,000 for traveling like that. So I think that's one thing I think they worried about is a lot of these young players coming out of college too. It's
And
like,
that 500,000, that's deductible, right, on
Correct.
your tournament earnings. So it's like you're guaranteed 500.
it's like cash in advance, and
Exactly. So
Yep.
if you don't make 500, you get 500. If you make 500, you get 500. If you make 501, you make five. You start turning more dollars as soon as you get over that $500,000 hump. But which I think that's a super smart move to maintain players. I was listening to a podcast with Dottie Pepper and her take on the whole Live Tour thing. Definitely not a supporter of the Live Tour, and she had some awesome points about how all this guaranteed money. Her comment was makes them soft. Okay, and you start thinking about it, and I'm kind of waffling back and forth on like, is the guaranteed money a necessity? Do you like the fact that there's a guaranteed money element?
I like the idea of what the PGA is doing right now. It's kind of a little bit like Live as far as they're enticing the players. Well, actually, kind of with this way, they're almost forcing the players to play in the big events, and they've kind of did that. So now, like I think the Live, I think they were trying to grab a bunch of really good players and say, hey, we
Yep.
got this great stable of players. Although that hasn't really came about just yet. Their great players are pretty small, but there's a lot more money out there, and almost a lot of it's almost kind of not guaranteed necessarily, but I think there is a lot of money out there. And I like the idea that you're kind of you're doing it by merit, you know. And I liked, even like I'm trying to think of what Rory's comment was. They were talking about like that little pot of guys. Once again, whatever that is, that number is 20. It's basically those guys that are the game changers, the needle movers. The ones that people want to see. And that'll even change. They haven't really come out with like the system of how that's going to be. Like, how are we going to find out who those guys are? But I think there's just some like incentive there to always try to win and be at the best and keep moving forward. And I just kind of like that element of the game. I think that's what golf is all about, And so it's just, even though I'm sure the guys are being competitive, I think they still like to win on Live. It just seems different when you just hear guaranteed dollars.
Yeah, and Live will never have the history, the tradition, the stuff that goes along with winning an event on the PGA Tour. Jeff Ogilvy was saying, I don't know if you caught his comment. That guy should be in charge of everything, because he was saying, he's like, you've got the Byron Nelson, you've got the Memorial, you've got Jack's tournament, Arnie's tournament. Those events had so much tradition, and there's so much that comes with winning those events. Yes, there's prize money, but you look at those trophies, you look at the scores and the people that have won those events, and you're not going to have that on a Live Golf trophy. How the history and how the events were brought to be is just not there. And there definitely needs to be a way for these two tours to live together. They need to be able to coincide. But the feuding that's going on between the two, and you're no longer my friend in the the whole locker room banter, talking behind people's backs and stuff, is definitely not good for the game. And the whole term defector and stuff. I mean, because honestly, the Live Golf Tour has shown there was a fly in the ointment, right? There was something going on that the PGA Tour wasn't willing to address. And now the PGA Tour is addressing it, and they're doing it in very similar fashion as the Live Tour. Now it's the PGA Tour, so they've got a lot of backing, and the players are all, seems like they're on board with it. But the best thing that I think they can do is start welcoming these quote unquote defectors back, squash that whole you're on Live, I'm on the PGA deal, and let's find a way for both of these to kind of coexist. Um, it's honestly it's exposed some weaknesses within the PGA. So it's if the Live Tour didn't happen, the PGA Tour would not be doing what it's doing right now.
I think, Jay Monahan, I think, had said that some of these things were already thoughts, ideas, things moving forward. This definitely accelerated things much more quickly. But he also said, as far as, I don't think in the near future there's going to be any welcoming back of Live, because basically he came out and said they're dead to me.
So
and I think he also said, he goes, look, many of them made that choice, and many of them probably signed long-term contracts, and so they made that decision.
I think that's such. I don't know. I see. I disagree with that, because it is a bunch of hooey. They would not have done what they did if there wasn't a rival.
So you think in the last 2 weeks the PGA Tour has come up with this because of Live? Just in the last 2 weeks? Not a chance.
You don't think so?
Not a chance. I'm not saying they would have done it.
Yeah.
But there's no way that you come up with this thing that they did on Thursday, or Wednesday, whenever that press conference was, within a 2 or 3 week period.
So they're having these, what seems to be kind of like, all right, let's rally the troops type meetings together, because it is coming out that and same with Live. The fact that Live just happened, this year, that didn't just happen. That has been burning for a while. So similar deal. I would say both of these conversations have been happening behind the scenes without people knowing for quite some time, and I do think that the PGA Tour was kind of on the heels as to, they're like, whoa, I think this is happening quicker than, because I don't know. I think it's kind of weird that, Tiger's setting up meetings with players, and, they're collaborating with ways. I mean, that's kind of, that's different, right? We don't hear a whole lot of that. So
I'm not missing a lot of guys that are at Live right now.
Oh, I'm not either.
DJ's not like, he was fun to watch because he's a freak as far as how far he can hit it and how good he is, but he's not like he's Mr. Personality. Cam Smith was unfortunate, but once again, if Cam
he hasn't gone yet.
No, he hasn't. But if he decides to go, I think he's got adequate knowledge now of what the situation is, and if you still choose to go, bye-bye.
At this time, with what's cooking on the PGA Tour, I would have a very tough time, especially in those top tier players, of going anywhere. I would stay, but I'm sitting here having a podcast with you two guys, so I don't know a whole lot, but it seems like the way that it's going is really, really good and player positive. So I think that, man, especially with Cam Smith, I don't know. That would be a tough. I don't know how you would leave, especially with the year that you've had and what kind of security you're going to maintain through the PGA Tour. I don't know what the pension's like on Live, but everyone talks about how, like, the PGA Tour pension is the best in professional sports. So there's a.
How long has the PGA Tour been running? When did that actually get established? I wonder.
So there was a division, right, between, the PGA, not a division, but a collaboration, really, of like PGA Tour and the PGA of America, and that was Jack and Arnie in their time, right? Yeah.
So quite a longevity there, and that's the thing that I would also find unnerving to try to go there, is you're going to a place that has not got a year under their belt. What could be the future? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, something just folds down, and now I've got no place to play.
Right.
But hey, the other thing that's kind of cool as far as it came out this week, that's new and really kind of supposedly going to be fan friendly or fan exciting, is the what Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy came out with this week as well. And it's kind of like, I guess you'd think of the future's golf, or what golf in the future may look like. And it's basically, I thought right away, it's like you basically brought 16 from the Phoenix Open into play, but you can play any length of hole, because if viewers haven't seen that, you're being in a state, but you're hitting into almost like a jumbotron, like a launch, a simulator, So you can hit your tee shot there and you see what's going on, and then you can hit your approach shot live. I mean, I don't remember how long they had that set up, but let's say it was 100 yards. I don't know. And so it's really kind of cool. And you've got basically this whole thing encompassed by fans. They're right on top of the action once again, and they'll be playing music and everything else. And they want to do this, like, I think more so like would be in our off season, like January, February, March, I think is when they were talking about doing that. On Monday nights. So football's over. Now it's Monday night prime time and you're running this.
Sure.
And so I'm like, wow, this is kind of
cool.
And once again, if Tiger and Rory are behind it, you would have to think that you're maybe going to get some of the top stars.
Mm-hmm.
And January and February might be kind of down for a lot of those individuals anyway. It's a one-day deal possibly. I'm sure they're going to get lots of sponsorship for this on a Monday night. I don't know what's going to be airing on. And I can't remember if this was like 2024 they were looking at, or how quickly they were trying to get that rolling.
So now I've heard really nothing about the whole thing outside of the fact that I heard that Tiger and Rory were collaborating on something. So is this professional? Are these professionals competing against each other? Is this amateurs competing against each other?
I believe it's professionals.
Okay, so it's going to be kind of like almost like the old school skins game, except just like on Red Bull.
Yeah, I don't know if
basically.
they're playing like, a 9-hole event, or if they're playing some sort of like match play elimination type deal, or how they're doing it. I haven't looked a lot into it, but it just looks kind of fun having golf primetime off season post NFL.
Yeah,
it's kind of a dead time anyway.
Oh yes.
And if you can actually get the stars, the players, the people that want to see it involved in this, I think it could be quite electrifying. So it'd be kind of cool.
Okay, so here's the deal. This is like our longest show ever. This turned into a marathon. I didn't even realize we had this much stuff to talk about. We still have more to talk about, but we do you guys we probably have to,
Yes.
You got somewhere to go?
No. Yes, I actually do.
All right, you got a lesson or something? Okay.
No, I'm setting up the par threes at Alzego for Sunday's Shrine par 3 event.
And that's a full field.
Is it?
I don't know. I thought you said it was full field.
Well, no, this one is the Shrine.
Yep.
Is putting on a par 3 tournament at Alzego on Sunday. I don't know if they're full or not. They've kind of been taking care of that. So $100 entry fee, you get prizes, hole-in-one giveaways, just one shot on every hole to try to knock it closer, not get in the hole. So
that's cool.
Do you play out the holes too? Is it like
no?
Oh, you just
yes, really quick. It's really fast.
That is
9
neat.
shots. It's
wow.
Yep.
I love that.
Yes.
Can you buy mulligans?
You're ineligible.
I know. I saw that. I saw that. You got the poster up front. It's like no professionals and professionals.
So
right?
you can. I should know more information about it, but just go out and Google Shrine par 3 event at Alzego, and it'll bring up entry fees and when to play. They got 4 or 5 different shotguns going throughout the day. So
it's a super cool idea.
Yep.
And that's something that I might take. That's a great idea to run an event where it's just you're just hitting one shot,
right?
Turning every hole into a par 3. There's something there. That's cool. All right, so I think that's an awesome time to God, look at that. We're at all-time high subscribers here. What's our production?
Laura's got breaking news.
Fall golf, yeah. So okay, we got to talk about our fall golf passes. Are September 1,
September
right?
1.
So go ahead and check out fargogolf.net. Get all your information on the fall golf passes. You are definitely, if you don't have a pass right now, what are you doing? You're going to need to make sure that you check out the fall golf passes. September 1, you can play some fall golf. That's the best time to play.
The numbers we've all been pumping out this year. I didn't know anybody in Fargo didn't have a membership already. So
isn't it crazy? It is crazy. So and also, if you haven't done so already, hit that big subscribe button, smash the notification bar, check out Muni Misfits in the morning. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. So everywhere that you get your social media. And gosh, thanks for tuning in for a heavy marathon.
Yeah, looks like our producer Laura is already grabbing the hook. She's about to pull us off.
So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Hopefully we got some fun guests again. Thanks for hooking that up, Cookie. Appreciate that. So this is Muni Misfits in the morning. We will see you next week, 7 o'clock. See you then.